arranged with some surgeons down in the Houston area. So always working with Rotary and always love what you guys do. And I appreciate your time here today. I'll get to the point and I'll be as quick as I can be. Just a little background there. I'm a pediatrician. I have two practices, one in Columbia, Illinois, and one in Creve Coeur. And when I was in Salem, Illinois, my first job, I just noticed a lot of kids not wearing bicycle helmets. Always got involved in some kind of community service, but didn't find a group there that really felt like a good fit for me. So I decided to do my own thing and started Helmets First. Kind of grew from me going to one school talking about bike helmets, got my employer to give me some helmets, and then I wanted to find a way to encourage kids to wear those helmets once I gave them to them. So I reached out to the local police department and asked them if they would give the kids rewards around town when they saw them wearing helmets. So I collected coupons from Dairy Queen and such and gave them to them, and found it was a good program all the way around. The kids were excited to wear their helmets then. They were excited to connect with police. Police were excited to have a program where they could interact with kids positively. That was 15 years ago. So you can imagine how the police look at this program now, 15 years later, with the things that have been going on in our country. They really, I mean, they're excited. These guys they're as excited as the kids are. I see when they, like some of the videos I've seen of them giving kids prizes and pictures I've seen, and just me talking to them about it. Their smiles are huge. So I love that portion of how we've expanded this program. I had this presentation put together for February, and I gave it to a group talking about how I was going to expand Helmets First this year, and then COVID hit, and I've done no Helmets First until the last month or so. And I really have been trying to expand that. And I did want to expand the police part of the program. I didn't intend for them to carry helmets, but that's kind of what it's come to, because it's a nice place for kids to go to get helmets without having to come to my office. I don't have standard office hours anymore, really. We're just kind of by appointment only, and don't really want kids stopping by with their families when we have limited access, and we have sick and healthy kids there at the office anyway. So really just reached out to police departments and people I knew who knew police departments. And right now we have 13 departments joining us, Overland being one of those. Jamie Otwell and I have worked together for a few years. I've come to their safety town and give bicycle helmets to the kids. And so when I reached out, she was excited to start doing that in Overland as well. So that's where we are. We have some North County, Jennings, Chesterfield, Creve Coeur, Fenton right now. And then the North County Co-op, I believe it's called, they reached out last weekend. So we're going to start working with them as well. And then there's 6 departments on the Illinois side that we're working with. Some stats. I mean, I'm sure you guys all know bicycle helmets can save lives. I could go over all those numbers, but really it's just like a seatbelt. You know, it's hopefully you don't need it, but if you do need it, it can be life-saving. So the problems I found, there are no helmets. Some people just can't afford them. Some parents just don't see the need. Some parents aren't going to, even with the need, they're not going to go spend the 20 bucks to buy one. I see a lot of kids wearing helmets the wrong way. So I wanted to make sure when we gave helmets, they were properly fitted. And then there was just no really reason for them to wear them, especially if their parents didn't see the value. And so I wanted to reward them. And I guess that fourth problem now would be the, police community relations and how we're addressing some of that. So solutions were to raise money to give free helmets, teach people how to fit helmets. So when they did give them away, they were fitted correctly, educate on the importance of wearing helmets and rewarding those kids for wearing helmets, and then partnering with these police departments to give them what they need. So that's kind of how it works. I talked about that. We're just expanding those programs. When they give them, I go out right now. Basically, it's just me. I have one volunteer who, when he can, gets out. I just go business to business, collect rewards, put them in envelopes with a business card that says, thanks for making a good choice and wearing your helmet. This reward is from Helmets First in your local police department. So that way they can take that home with them if their parents aren't around, and the parents will know where they got their free slushy coupon from, or whatever it was that they got.
Joe, may I interrupt for just one moment?
Sure.
I just called my wife in. She is not in the office today. She is the assistant to the St. Anne Police Chief.
Oh, wow.
And you've dealt with her at Marion Elementary School. She was a school secretary there for quite a long time. So she wants me to make sure I get your information, because she wants to reach out with you to get St. Anne Police Department involved as well.
Very good. I'll type that into the chat when I'm done talking here.
Okay, thank you. Sorry to interrupt you. I just thought you might like to know that.
That's pretty cool. Thank you. So that's what the card looks like. There's a business card along with whatever coupon I have in multicolored envelopes. The kids just can pick their favorite color. Nobody knows what's in them. Usually I'll buy with some funds like a pair of Cardinal tickets for each community, maybe some Six Flags passes, maybe get some of those things donated. and let the kids know that those are in there as well. So, I mean, most kids are very happy to win a free ice cream cone, but even a little more excited to win some Cardinals tickets, things like that. So again, that's the basics of how this works. There's a number of different ways you guys can help out. And I know, I mean, just in general, it's hard to raise money. And then this time of year, this year, it's been even harder to raise money. Anything you guys can do would be helpful. We take donations. Every $10 buys a helmet. I do offer for businesses, $500 donation gets you 50 helmets with your logo on it. You can kind of see some of those up in that top right corner, what that can look like. We just get a clear decal with the logo printed on it and put those on the helmets that we give away. You can designate those to be in Overland or any communities, say I want them to go in these 2 or 3 communities if that benefits your business in some way. We are, that'll end their slide come up there. We do have a trailer. You can put a logo on a trailer. There's sponsors for that. As far as just as a group would need, I mean, one of the biggest things I need is collecting rewards. So any volunteers, go to a local business, especially if you guys live in the Overland community. I'm trying to make my way back there and get out to some local businesses to raise some coupons, and whether that could be 5, 10, or Sonic just gave me 500 yesterday. So I'm excited about that. That gets me filled up a little bit. 500 free ice cream cones will go a good ways through this program. I've had some local McDonald's give me 100 or 200 at a time as well. So it just kind of depends on the business what you can get, but I'll take 1 or 2, whatever it takes. The kids will enjoy it. We do have our first virtual golf tournament coming up October 24th. It is basically you download an app, you play on your own. There's no teams. It's kind of just all for fun, but a way to raise some money. So we look for sponsors for that. We'll do some auction items, sponsors for some of the swag bag items, or just someone to play, $25 donation to play. And then they have the instructions to download the app, and there'll be more instructions coming on how the day will work when we will do the golf tournament, and there'll be prizes for placing in that as well. So that's another thing that you can do for free for me is help me share the information for that. Like our social media, share the stuff that's going on with the group, so that way more awareness comes of the program. And that was quick, down and dirty. I like to get to the point, and I hope that was quick for you guys, and I'm happy to answer any questions anyone has now. Everybody's muted. No one's.
I would say I have muted everybody. So if you do have a question, you're gonna have to unmute yourself. Joe, I've got one to start with. Obviously, being a pediatrician, you're aware of what's going on and how people, I'm going to use the term loosely, the dangers of kids not wearing them. But what was the original? Why this? I guess is the question.
It's crazy. I don't have a great story, which is good, I guess. I don't know. I know, obviously, through my training, I've seen some head injuries from a number of different things, whether it be horseback riding, 4-wheelers, a bike, some bike head injuries. And I just know how important it is to protect that noggin. And then when I did cycle a lot, and I had a crash that I went over and landed on my shoulder, and it was before I started wearing a helmet. And it was just one of those, like, I hit right here, and I've separated the shoulder. I've had a couple surgeries. And I just realized, like, if that had been my head, that could have been bad news. That would have been a lot different story. Might not be around to even talk about it if I were. And I do have a good friend who has had a couple of bike crashes. The last one's been pretty devastating for him. He's having a long road, been years of recovery. And then it was just the fact that there was like 0 kids in Salem, Illinois wearing helmets. So when I didn't see a helmet anywhere, and it just seemed like a good place to get started and do something that might make a little bit of difference. And it just kind of grown from there.
I fully agree. As an active cyclist, I cycle almost every day, and I see people wearing helmets. I see people wearing helmets batted with, back way, whether
Right.
our front of their head is. And I try to gently remind them, next time you're home, go in front of a mirror and try to get it where your forehead's covered. And in the last 10 years, literally thousands of miles of cycling, you never know when something's going to happen. I mean, my wife and I ran into each other, and no head injuries, but she thought we were going left and we were going right, so forth. So you really never know. And I also, the misconception, I'm on a bike trail, I'm safe. Well, that's crazy. Right now, if you've noticed, bike shops are pretty much sold out of anything under $1,000 for bikes. So that means lots of people are out there who have not ridden in years. They may not know the etiquette. So there's a lot of need out there, and especially I think kids is a great idea because, you know, and if you get the parents behind it, because this will sound terrible, but you want to have to feed your child for the next 30 years, you know?
All right. Yeah. Yeah. I've seen kids in a high chair that were teenagers and they've been there already for, 5 or 10 years, and that's where they're going to be for the rest of their life. So it's scary stuff. And like you said, yeah, that's one thing I like to focus my training on too when I'm talking to groups is, the importance of being a good role model as a parent, because as studies have shown, maybe a quarter of kids whose parents don't wear a helmet continue to wear a helmet once their parents stop making them wear the helmet. So it's important to be that role model, just make it be habit, and just to see that it's just something that you do. Like just like a lot of kids now getting into the car, they're like, "Mom, don't forget your seatbelt," or "Dad, don't forget your seatbelt." They're all about those seatbelts. That's why I wanted to be about their bike helmets.
Sounds like a great program. I'll figure out some way to get behind it. Maybe see if our district can do something, because it's not
That'd be great.
exorbitantly expensive. I think a rotary logo would fit real well on a bike side of a bike helmet.
It'll look good. It'll look good.
We have a Rotary Cycling to Serve Fellowship throughout the U.S. Well, there's throughout the world, but we have a branch in the U.S. and Canada, and we've got about 150 members, and pretty diehard riders. But we see the need. And
Okay.
Safety's it.
Our daughter that I mentioned earlier, she's 32. She's not quite 5 feet. She doesn't quite top out at 100 pounds. She's petite, and she's been riding her bike. No problem. Couldn't find a helmet that would work. She wound up ordering a child's helmet because her head is so small that that's all she could do. She knew she needed one. She had a good friend of hers that works with children over at WashU, and I think MRI. So this lady actually measured our daughter's head. She said, "Do you want to know what size it is?" No, just order it. I don't want to know how bad this is. But she also recognizes that she needs the helmet. She took a spill on the bike, a month or two ago. It was a wet road, brake stuck, and she went flying over, hurt a rib and whatnot like that. But she said at least the helmet was there. And it didn't get scratched or anything, so she did not wind up hitting her head. But she said, at least I know I'm safe because of the helmet. And that does make a difference. It really does.
Yeah, I fell about a year ago, and it was after the Creve Coeur Lake area, it flooded, and then it receded. And there's inner trails and outer trails. And my friends decided to go down the inner trail, and it was silt covered, and I didn't know it, and lost control, almost regained it, but didn't. And then I'm 6'1", and it's a long way from the top of my head to the ground. And you just know when that helmet smacks the pavement. It was on the side, but I haven't been right since. No, but you really know it, because it's like people thinking, "Oh, I don't need a seatbelt. I'll hold on to the steering wheel," or and they don't realize that you have to. When you get thrown out of the car, you have to run away from it really quickly. So yeah, you just don't know. And plus, kids are going to ride around neighborhoods. There's sidewalks, curbs. About 15 years ago in a subdivision in St. Peter, I did an end over riding in a little community bike trail, and you just never know. And I think it's a great idea to get these kids out there. And so I appreciate it.
Even for some kids, the thought of winning a reward, they're going to go get their bike out when they normally would be sitting at home and get outside a little bit, hoping for that chance to get that reward. So, a good way to get them active as well, not just do it safely.
In a non-COVID year, how many helmets would you give out in a year?
I've been averaging around 3,000 a summer for the last 10 years or so. And I would go, before I got married, like I said, 6 years ago when my wife and I met, I was going to every event anyone called me for. And it might be 10 helmets and I might be there all day, but I went for awareness of the program, just to meet poor people. And I cut that back some, when we got married. And really, as I started going to a lot of those smaller events, I would teach someone there how to fit helmets, and I would give them helmets for their event. I just wouldn't go to every one of them. But this year, my goal, like I said, was to just get back out there and to start making it grow again. Quite go the way it was planned, as a lot of plans for this year haven't gone, but And then, like most people, I figured out a way to make a pivot, and so we're going a new direction with the helmets at the police department. But I think that's a good fit anyway. I think it's another great way for people to have a positive interaction and with the police, and I think that's just really important right now.
Are there any communities or states that require helmets with kids, or with anybody, I guess?
I think St. Louis County right now requires helmets for kids. Now, again, they don't go out and enforce that. It's a law of
Right.
some sort, and that's usually the way that goes, and that's why I haven't really gone and pushed for it. It's hard to there's no one goes out and enforce. You're going to give the ticket to, and it's just such a negative thing for police to go out and do that they don't want to do that job. They don't want to go enforce bicycle helmets for kids. They really just so it's in the books for those who want to follow the law, and it gets them to do that. But those who don't want to or don't care or don't even know it's a law, which is a common place for a bicycle helmet as well, they just don't wear one. So I think so that's the kind of the meaning for this program, is to just get that awareness out there of the importance of wearing one and get them to want to wear it, not have to wear it. And I know like Seattle has helmet laws. There's some places that have some pretty.
I live in the Sycamore Hills, and I'm on our board of trustees, and we have a helmet ordinance, but no one's ever, like you say, they haven't enforced it. And we used to make fun of cheap helmets, but serious cyclists would say if you have a $10 brain, get a $10 helmet, but $10 helmet's better than no helmet.
Yeah, and they have to be CPSC certified. So $100 helmet versus a $10 helmet. I mean, as long as it protects your head, I think that I don't know if there's a much benefit to spending $100. I've spent $100, $200 on a helmet before, but I don't know that was necessary, especially if we're following the rules and you should replace it every year or maybe two that gets pretty expensive.
Several years ago, I was meeting friends in Edwardsville area to ride, and realized right before I got there they didn't have a helmet. So I whipped into Walmart and got a helmet for like $20, and it's been serviced. Like, I think it's a Bell brand. It's been serviceable, and when you wear one every day, they just break down the sweat, and it's nasty. But I use what's the acronym for there's like a liner inside the helmet now, the MEPS, multi-impact protection system.
Okay, yeah.
My better helmet has that. So when your head hits the ground, it doesn't catch on the pavement. It may catch, but your head inside will move around in the helmet and not whip your neck around. So I guess it's based on theory. It's not if you're going to crash, it's when.
Hey, right.
I don't want to jinx myself for today. So I hope you and I can stay in touch, because
Please do. Yeah, reach out to me and let's keep communication going. I'm happy to answer any questions anyone has. Get together, have coffee when we were allowed to do that, and have some further conversations. So yeah, anything you guys need from me, just let me know.
okay.
Joe, I'm curious, you're a pediatrician by profession. Do you still practice, and how do you balance all this?
I do. I have, with the two practices, I have nurse practitioners that work, and I work about a half a day a week in the office. I work a day or more a week on the office. I have to review their charts and do that too. So that's time each day that it takes. I actually started my own line of CBD products last year as well. So I'm working on getting that out there, and expanding the knowledge and the retail base of that. It's basically for pharmacies and healthcare providers, just because the industry is so wild west, the newest wild west anyway, where there's no regulation and you don't know what you're going to get. And I had enough patients asking about it. So anyway, not to get carried away on that conversation, but that's consumed a lot of the last year of my life as well. I stay busy.
On the coupons that you're looking for, is there a value that you're, like you mentioned, free ice cream cones, or just?
Yeah, mostly what I've gotten. So I've got a big stack of MacArthur cookies, or no, McAllister cookies. I got a big stack of the Sonic. We had slushies, and now they have ice cream cones. McDonald's is usually ice cream cones, but sometimes they'll have a burger or just even a French fry. Any value really.
Okay.
Free ice cream cones. I mean, ice cream cones pretty cheap, but it sure makes kids happy. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it makes me happy too.
Very good. Well, I appreciate your time, Joe.
Well, thank you
Anybody
guys.
else have any questions?
I did screenshot your chat information and I already sent it to my wife, so
Perfect.
she should be reaching out to you because she was really, really impressed when you came to Marion Elementary in the Rittner School District. And you know, when I called it, she said, "Who is it? Who is it?" And I said, "It's Joe." And she, "Oh man, he's fantastic." So I think you might have an in with the St. Anne Police Department soon.
Perfect. I've done helmets with St. Anne before. Chris, it's Scaga. I don't know how you say his last name.
Cangas? Yeah.
And I don't know if he's still there or not, but I emailed him a few times without any response in the last couple months when I've been trying to expand. I reached out to people I've done helmets with before, and he was one, and I haven't heard back from him. So
You know, I'm not sure he's still with them. I don't think he is, but when she reaches out, she'll follow up. She's stays on top of it, and we believe in helmets. Our boys, I mean, we insist our grandchildren wear the helmets at least when we're around. And they've got a four-wheel, we've got a farm, they've got a four-wheeler, and neither one of them get on it without a helmet. A 6-year-old even has the full face chin covering. And so we want to make sure, because you've only got one brain.
that's right.
Very good. Any other questions or comments, folks? All right. Again, thanks, Joe. Thanks. And we will reach back out to you and see how we can partner and help out the Overland Police Department. Get those out for you.
I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you all for being here. Dave, have a good birthday. Tom, have a good one tomorrow. And we will see everybody for our virtual happy hour next Wednesday evening, 7 p.m. It's BYOB, so bring your favorite.
Hey,
All right.
hey, Dave.
Y'all take care.
Dave.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you guys.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Joe.
Bye.
Thanks again, Joe.
Thanks,
My
Joe.
pleasure.